Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again. Early this morning, and I'm doing what I always do. I'm talking, hoping that there is a solution somewhere in what is being said or in what is being heard. That it might be instrumental, that brings some changes, the kind of changes that would bring joy in our lives. You know, there's a realization that I'm dealing with presently that goes back for quite some time. You know, I grew up in an environment where I was taught something about God because I had to go to church all the time. And for some strange reason, based upon the way that I understood what I was being taught, there was no difference between human beings. I mean, didn't matter what color you were, if you were black or white or anything in between, or whether you were a man or whether you were a woman, or whether you were straight or gay. I guess these two never came up that much. But it didn't matter. If you were a human being walking around on this earth, God, my friend, was your God. So I always felt, even though growing up in the South way back in those days, and we were really mistreated, for many years of that time, I didn't even know we were being mistreated. I just followed suit. I used to watch television when that became possible. And what I saw on television, especially when it came down to movies that would entertain something about Africa, it would always be guys in their boonies or something like that, with bones in their nose or something in their lips, walking around screaming, and this just didn't make much sense to me. But it was enough to make me fearful of Africa. I never had a desire to go to Africa. I thought Africa was one of the worst places on the face of the earth, just based upon what they were showing me on television. So it makes me understand today how white people feel about black people based upon what they show on television and on radio and every place else about black people. I know they presented us as being barbaric, and truly the barbarism was with them because they didn't understand what it would take to bring unity to the group. They did not, and to this very day, they do not know what is necessary in bringing unity to this thing. I had a notice. You know, I started off talking about that because that got my interest, but I really initially wanted to talk to you about something else. And it was everybody here in America, based upon our system of operation, everyone is above the law. Now, I know we have the saying going, no one is above the law. And you might have it written down in some rule book. You might have some association attachment with the Constitution of the United States or anything like that. All of that might be happening. But the thing that you say, it justifies, you're stating, you're substantiating that no one is above the law and that this is a nation of laws. But then we have an understanding just like this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have an understanding just like this. We have representative government as well. Now, the President of the United States is the highest order in this nation. The President of the United States is the one that represents in the highest order the United States. What the people see the President doing, or hear the President doing, or hear the President doing, whatever it is, it's a standard. It is America in this one man. He's not just enforcing the rules and regulations and the laws as they are given forth, but he's also representing them. And when we say that no man, no one is above the law, we think no one is above the law. And then here comes the leader of the nation who has violated every law, and even calls himself being convicted of these violations and has not been held accountable for anything. He has connected himself with people who committed these same very acts with him, who have some of them been doing time, being punished for what they've done. And at the same time, he has not been held accountable for anything. In fact, he's been rewarded because they've given him a platform to continue speaking all of the crap that he was speaking years ago, continue to speak it every day, every night, every form. And then all of it basically lies of deception to mess the American people's mind up. And it worked. This crook, who has been held accountable for nothing, has been judged as the next president of the United States. Now you ask yourself, look how illegitimate that is. And think about all of the parties that were involved, that were supposed to protect us. The Justice Department, did it protect us? No. Did Garland protect us? No. Did the Supreme Court protect us? No. Did the Congress protect us? No. No one protected the people from the snake. Everybody played a part in it. Did the news media tell us about it? Did it keep us informed so we know what was happening? No. So we were out there on our own, trusting people, trusting and believing people were working in our interests, even though our interests, we as a people, were divided. Some on conservative and some on liberal. Some Republicans, some Democrats. All that kind of stuff at odds. Man, oh man, oh man. Isn't that something? But if the nation can say that this one is above the law, and we know Supreme Court justices who have to input on some of these decisions are men who stood before the Congress and took an oath saying that those things that had been accepted as standards within these constitutional ramifications of our nation, they wouldn't bother them. And yet they come in doing them. See, that was just lying to the people. Telling the people a bunch of lies just for whatever purpose. It wasn't to serve the people. It was to serve them or some other interest, but not the people. And then they get away to do that. And when they make a statement that works against us, we still have to accept it as though it means something. It doesn't mean a thing. It has lost its moral value. Whatever they're saying doesn't mean anything if it works against the people. If it works against the people, it does not mean anything. Because the number one thing, the people, not government, it's the people. The people satisfied, government will be satisfied. So, I guess that implies also that America has a moral crisis, right and wrong. They just talking about their political interests now, their economic interests, their educational and stuff like that. But the guide, which will direct, should, all of those particular interests, is their morals. How and who are they? How do they act? Well, we don't even have to ask that question because we look around us and most of us, have never seen it like this before. This is something else. This is something else. And yet I can remember the days when Fannie Lou Hamer was sitting back up in Mississippi saying we were fed up. And at that time she was saying we were fed up with the things that we had been going through. And she spoke it, I'm telling you, like a soldier. And today, all of these years later, we got people trying to do the same things. To just rewrite history. Oh, let me say this before I go. I was saying that I was taught to believe that God was for all of us. And this at a time when there were some people telling us that white people were devils. And they were saying white people were devils based upon the way they treated black people. You had to be a devil to do this to any human being. But you couldn't have convinced me of that. But as the years passed and I got a chance to grow up through life and speak as an advocate of basic human rights and get a chance to really watch and see what's going on with white people, I have no doubt that if this nation is going to be made a great nation, it will be because of the leadership of black people or people of color. White people might play a major role with us, but they will never take us. It's just not in their character. They just can't. Now, they can make a liar out of me if they choose to. But you ask me, what white man in America today can tell you of a plan that would bring unity to the nation and all of the people, black and white, old and young, will be satisfied in life? What white man could tell you anything like that except killing everybody that you think would be in the way of that? Tell me a white man. I ask, is there a white man out there that could do that? Well, I don't think there's a black man that could do that. I think it takes something special for that to happen. It takes the power of a God. The difference is black people will believe in God. White people won't. White people's God is money and guns. Money and guns, that's their God. But we know better. We know better. So, I think I'll just leave it there and I'll talk to you about something else a little bit later on in the day. I'm sure I can't go this whole day without having some more thoughts on how we can defeat this monster. And it is a requirement that we must do. And in order for us to do it, we must be led by a power outside of what we know. Talk to you.